I'll go first. So I was actually homeschooled by my father, and my social interactions were mainly through sports. So I did football, basketball, baseball, lacrosse, and then from there was a local homeschool group that started doing like a little musical theater. So I got involved in theater, and I really liked performing. So then that kind of led to actually my parents having me try it, because if I was going to do musical theater, they wanted me to be a triple threat. I used to be a triple threat. I can't sing anymore.
Have you had Vicky yet? She'll make you sing.
Oh, yeah. So they had me try it, and yeah, it was their choice. I actually didn't want to go. You know, we went to the Colorado Ballet's Nutcracker when I was 10, and I didn't want to go. I was like, I want to go to the lacrosse game. You know, I don't want to watch guys in tights. But then when I saw what ballet really is, I was amazed, you know, what everybody could do, and the talent and just the beauty of the theater and the ambiance of the whole thing. So when I tried it, I think I really connected immediately, because it's an athletic performing art. It was the two things I liked doing. And so from there, you know, the sports dropped off, and then musical theater kind of dropped off, and I just really focused on, I think at 13, when I went to my first summer intensive, is when I was like, this is what I want to do. Yeah, so that's what got me into ballet. 15 is really late.
Really late. I started when I was 15 because my girlfriend at the time, I'm not straight. I'm not straight. My girlfriend at the time I went to a high school that had a performing arts annex, and so she wanted me to like watch her do her audition piece, and so in watching her do her audition piece, I was just like, oh, that was cute. Maybe when that high point in the music comes on, you should kick instead of what you did. I don't even know what she did. I just felt like the high point of music, you should kick, you should do something big, you know? And then she looked at me and like with full seriousness, she was like, you should do this. And I just was like, yeah, no. No. So what you should know is like, I grew up in the projects. Like we were dirt poor. We were on government subsidy, you know, like what we used to have like what we called government brick cheese. It's like brick. It used to give you cheese. It is a brick. You just slice it off of yourself. It was actually really good. The best cheese I've ever had in my life. It was so good. But
sorry, where is this?
This is in Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, and so it was not being a dancer was not on my radar. You know, I was just like, I wanted to be an architect, and I was thinking about doing that. I was like really I loved lines, and so to me it sort of makes sense that I like dancing choreography, because it's about lines and like designing space, right? But like I was told to go, like she was so like, you have to go to. She was really controlling, my ex-girlfriend. She was really controlling. She went behind my back to my guidance counselor and said, Meredith wants to be in performing arts. I didn't know this. I got called to the office and she was like, I heard you want to go to performing arts. I was like, no, where'd you hear that from? Well, I heard you do. So I want you to go talk to them right now. So I had to go and speak, and I was just like, oh my God, what's going on? Okay, fine. And so I went over and spoke to him, and I came, and back then I just used to do what people told me to do. And the minute I started doing it, I was just like, oh, I like this. This is really cool. And ballet was like, I could take modern or ballet, and I couldn't do the modern. We were doing Graham, and there was a lot of slapping your stomach, like contraction. And I was like, the minute the teacher went on, I was like, ballet. I'm in for the ballet. I said this, did I not say that to y'all in men's class? I was like, have you ever watched Sterling? He does face, honey. Sterling, like the other day, they did a show at the Red Rose Farm, right? It's outdoors. And I was watching it, and I was like, he just winked at me. Like, I was like, dude.
But like Stars and Stripes.
Yeah, so he's like, and I was like, oh my God. So, but like that sort of, you feel a real person you have this connection, like that being able to like use your face and see somebody and really connect is so amazing. It is so amazing. And sometimes we get so like back here, it's sort of like window shopping. You don't really go inside to buy, you just look at how pretty it is. No, go in, try it on, use it. You know, don't window shop, don't pretend, but do.
Yeah, and partnering too. You
Yeah.
know, like when we do partnering, eye contact. You know, not like feeling awkward about it. You know.
Yeah.
When like I always talk to them about when you meet somebody who like, say you say hi, nice to meet you, and they're kind of like this, it's a sign of insecurity, right? If somebody can look at you in the eyes and talk to you confidently, yeah, it's a sign of confidence. And that happens when you're performing alone too, whether you're partnering. We've talked about the fourth wall, right? That doesn't exist, but people want to watch somebody like like you were just saying, like you feel like they're talking to you personal. You know, like I actually didn't wink at you, but the fact that you felt like I was winking at you, that's what you want as a performer, that they feel like you're there just for them. You know, and performing is actually, you know, everybody thinks ballet dancers are very narcissistic, which we are, but
It can be.
the best performers are actually very empathetic. What is the point of what we do here? We're performers. That's all this hard work gets onto a stage for people to escape whatever troubles they have in their life for 2 hours. You're there for them. You're not there for you. Right? This isn't about you. This is about them. That's why I personally don't like the phrase dance like nobody's watching.
Everybody's always watching.
Why are you dancing?
I mean, you have to also think like, okay, so yeah, they're out there for you, and you should be doing it for them. But in the doing it for them, it is actually you're doing it for you. You know what I mean? It's not. There's no either or, right? But it's when you get so stuck in yourself and you're paying no attention that you get so caught up in the being perfect and the being sort of like, I gotta get this right, that you're no longer in the space. You're in your head, which is a completely different space than on the stage. When you're on the stage, you're on the stage. You don't have the luxury to go and be back here hoping that I get the step. What are you doing? I mean, like, what? You know what I mean? And the thing is, that's the fun part. You get to tap into lots of different parts of yourself and project that. You don't have to be the thing that you're always being or what people see you as. I mean, like, people think of me as a kook, but if you give me other parts to do, you see other sides. Like, you don't want to be around me when I'm Tybalt. You don't. You don't want to be around me when I'm Rothbard.
I want to do Romeo and Juliet with you.
Yes. I am, oh my God.
I get intense.
I get intense. People get scared. I love it. I love it. Because you don't get to do that in real life. You don't get to be this intense in real life. You don't get to play out those things, right? You're on stage. And you know what? You get to do that in the studio. You have to start doing that in the class so that when it gets on stage, you can go even further and not just be starting it, you know?
And the beauty he's talking about is the imperfection.
Yeah.
Perfection's boring.
You know, you decide how you deal with things. Like when I used to get corrections, I never took them personally. I never saw myself. It was never personal. I was like, you're trying to correct this body. My soul is not part of this body. My soul controls this body. It is a thing. You are not attacking me. Now, there are people who have tried to attack me, and I step back and be like, I'm not listening to you. Because I don't have to. Right? So it's you being really in charge of how you hear something. Like somebody giving you a correction, hear it as a correction. Unless it's real biting. Unless you know it's not a correction. Unless you know they got a problem. Then you have to learn how to speak to power respectively.
And that reflects them.
Yeah, that respect. Yeah. I mean, you should be able to speak to power respectfully. You just stand and say, listen, I'm not sure if you meant that. I'm not sure, but this is how it made me feel. I mean, I've done things poorly. Everybody does. And when someone's come to me and said something to me respectfully, I correct myself quickly. I go full in. And there's nothing wrong. As a matter of fact, it's so much more fun to go full in. Those insecurities that are yours, your normal thing, they get pushed to the side. You don't have to deal with them for a while.
I mean, you can tell when somebody's committed or not, and it makes such a difference. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one thing I heard of, whether you like Will Ferrell as a comedian or not. One thing I heard somebody say about him when he first started on SNL is it didn't matter what the skit was or how terribly it failed. Nobody was laughing. He was full out, start to finish, committed, right? And that's how you have to dance.
Yeah.
You have to start that diagonal combination from there to there, 100%. When you're committed, we're committed. We want to watch it, right? If you're kind of doubting what you're doing, you know, you can make something that's really bad really good if you're committed to it. And you can make something really good really bad if you're not there.
And so like when you're taking, that's why sometimes if in the middle of a combination, you come out and you're judging what you're doing, then you just wasted all that time, right? Like if you decide at the beginning, you don't stop until you finish. You deal with the things in the thing that you're doing. You don't pull yourself out and try to deal. You have to deal within the space that you're in. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like you're doing a combination and like something goes wrong. That's going to happen on stage, without a doubt. Something's going to go wrong. And you have to teach yourself how to deal with things going wrong. You don't step away from the thing going wrong. You deal with the thing going wrong. And that's just like life. You have to learn how to deal with the thing that's going wrong.
There's a pandemic. That was tough. Everything stopped, you know, and I think it gave everybody a moment to kind of, and I saw a lot of people quit. You know, it really made people consider whether or not you want to do this. But as anything in life, it's a choice. You know, I ended up doing 2 to 4 classes a day in my apartment for 3.5 months. I came out of the pandemic better. Some people quit. So, but yeah, that was tough. That was hard to have what you love to do, live performance, being taken away from you for almost 2 years. But then it made it even more, I mean, I did opening night. I had done like filmings and this and that here and there, but Sydney Dolan and I did opening night Nutcracker, and we came off after the coda and we both fell on the floor and started crying because it was just so overwhelming to actually be back on a stage with a live audience. I had forgotten what it felt like, you know, that this virtual world is just not the same. It's not the same thing. No matter whatever imperfections you have in that live moment on stage, it's just so special because that's all you get. It's that moment and that connection, that electricity. So, yeah, in a way, it actually, you don't know what heaven is until you know hell, right? So you don't know good until you know bad. So it actually, I think, made a lot of us dancers come out with more of appreciation for what we have.
I can't say that, I know it's going to be, we're so contrary right now. The COVID was fierce for me. Hear me out. I had to teach at university. My first class is at 8:30 in the morning. That all switched during COVID. My classes didn't start till 10. I did it in my house. Oh my God, to just go from my bed to my office. And then when the class was over, I had lunch in my house. Oh my God, it was amazing. It was amazing. I felt bad. I did feel bad for, like, I did want to, but that was, and also it literally gave me a chance to breathe. It literally gave me a chance to breathe and like recommit to myself and recommit to my growth. It was just a wonderful thing. Now the hardest part of my career, like you said, there have been so many. I think there's some. I did go through a low grade depression after I quit dancing, because there's something about leaving there. Being on the stage was fabulous, and you're right, you forget what it's like until you come back to. You're like, oh my God, I forgot it gets so hot up here too. But I missed people. And for like 6 months, I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do. If I'm not a dancer, who am I? And I was trying to figure out who I am, and not, I was looking to other people to answer it and not answering it for myself. And so I really had to go okay, what do you like to do? I was like, oh, okay, you like to choreograph, so start your own company. I don't know why that happened, but I started my own company, and I was teaching, and I started choreographing, and then it's like, oh, I'm a teacher, and it is not what it sounds. I never wanted to be a teacher. I never thought I wanted to be a teacher, but to me, it's almost like performing. I have to step up to the plate. I have to be encouraging. I have to know what's going on. It charges me, right? Being a director charged me. It just, thinking about the whole scope, like what do people see and what are they going to do, and how do I treat these people? How do I make other people's lives better? I don't know why that is. Maybe because I'm just empathetic. Maybe I am. And maybe that is what it is. But the hardest part was leaving a space where all my friends were. It was whew, and you get so used to coming in and you talk and you work your bodies together, and there's something about being in the studio with the rest of the group and you're all working for the same thing. And all of a sudden, you're not working with anybody on anything. And so I went through a little depression. My husband got a little upset. He was like, you gonna get up soon? Maybe take a shower, but I worked it through. But that's a tough thing when you retire. But I knew I had to retire because my body was like, you're done. Everybody's coming in as really young. Because I was 40 when I retired. And so when you're 40 and you have a 15, 16, 17-year-old coming into the company and they want to have a conversation, and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And you don't know what I'm talking about.
That your competition isn't in this room, it's on the planet. It's everybody, right? Yeah. And the kind of, some people coming from some places, that's it. There's a desperation to get your job, So that's why we come, what he was just saying, the kind of privilege and appreciation for having the opportunity to have a studio, to have ballet shoes, right? That aren't torn up and falling apart, and the commitment to what you're doing. Just like Meredith said, if you want to do this, you can't half-ass it. You got to go full out, because somebody out there is doing what you're doing plus what they're doing.
And you don't have to run yourself in the ground.
No,
we're not saying that. You don't have to run yourself in the ground, but you have to decide, what do you want this? You have to make a decision. And the thing is, decision is a wonderful thing because it's an editing process. You decide you want this, that means I don't need that. Just means you don't need that. I want this. I don't need to do that because I have this. This is what I want, right? It's not a sacrifice if this is what you want. Because people are always like, well, you sacrificed this and you sacrificed that. I was like, I didn't sacrifice a thing. I wanted this. I don't care about that party. I don't care about those shoes. I didn't care about that jacket. I want this, right? And that's not a sacrifice. You know what I mean? And so when you come at it from this is what I want, it makes it amazing.